Good morning everybody and welcome to Facebook Live. My name is Lindy Smith and today I'm going to be showing you how to make some edible Union Jacks. So I've got little ones here and I've got a larger one over here. Now my apologies if you're not from United Kingdom, it is Union Jacks, that is our flag, but the techniques I'm going to show you are relevant to whatever country you are from. So if you'd like to pop on and say hello and tell me where in the world you are. So say this is really for people from the UK, but I know people from the UK live all over the world. So good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I'm going to be showing you two techniques today. The first one is using dusts, which I've used on this little one here and this one here. And then I'm going to be showing you how to use royal icing to create this one here. So two techniques and lots of flags. Now the inspiration for today's Facebook Live has been, of course, the Olympics. I've been watching the Olympics avidly, thoroughly enjoying it. Every evening sitting down watching all that activity going on, and I thought, why not, do a bit of help to cheer on our team. Right, we've got some hellos, we've got more good morning from Texas, and we've got Jenny from Manila. And we've also got another good morning from a fellow Smith. Hello there, good morning to you. Right, so what I'm going to do is flick the camera and move these out of the way. I've got to be a little bit careful here because I've just managed to prop them up because obviously they are cookies. So pop those there. I'm just going to, and what I have got to do is show you what I've been using. So I want to pick these up. I've got a large stencil, which is this one. This is a Cakes Top stencil, which was the one I used, if I bring these back in again, on the one down here in this corner. That was this one, which you can use on a 8-inch cake, or even squeeze it onto a 7-inch as well. For the smaller ones, I've been using the little set here. Now there's 4 stencils in this set, and they've got matching cutters. Now these are both from us at Lindy's Cakes, and I will show you a little bit closer. So let me move these out of the way. Got more good mornings. We've got a good morning from Singapore and Lizzie from Ghana. Gosh, we are all over the place today. How wonderful. That's super. Right, I'm just going to bring in my stand and I'm going to flick the camera. So bear with me. I bring this in and I found a way of flicking it so that you don't see my finger, which I'm rather pleased about, but it's not working. Oh, come on, flick. It doesn't want to. How strange. That's the problem of going live, isn't it? We never know. Now what I'm going to do is I will flick this round and give you a close-up of the cookies whilst I try and flick it. Oh no, it won't work that way. It won't work that way. Let me do it this way. If I do that way, get a close-up of the cookies while I try and flick it. So there we are, there's some of the cookies. That way. And now I'm going to try. It doesn't want to, It's not quite the same if I can't actually demonstrate to you what I'm doing, is it? Some more good mornings, and we've got a good evening from Singapore actually. Well, of course, it's always this time frames are different. I might have to come back to this. Oh, how annoying. Let's see. Maybe my hands aren't clean enough. Let's try a different hand. Aha, fabulous. Sorry about that, everybody. Technology, that's the thing, we're going live. Right, so I have now flicked it. So you need to bake some cookies if you want to do this on cookies. It works on cupcakes and a big cake too. So the tins I use were these. So I've got hearts and squares, and I've baked some cookies over here. There's a square one and a heart one. And you will need some cutters to cut out the flags and the stencils. I know you can't see this very well. And there are 4 in the set, as I've already said. Now for the first technique, which is the dusts, you'll need some on that. Because the Union Jack flag is white, red and blue, that's the colours I've got. Now under my smoother here, if I move this along, I have rolled out some white modelling paste, and I've rolled it out between these nice 1 mil spaces. That means that my paste is nice and thin, and I've Can you see it? Hopefully you can. Let me just zoom in actually, then you can see. So what I've done, there we go, is I've rolled out the paste between the spaces. I've then put the stencil on top and I've pressed down with the smoother, nice and firmly, so it forces the paste up to the top surface of the stencil and everything is sealed in. So when the dust goes onto that stencil, it won't spill underneath. Now I might actually see if I can bring this down. Oh yes, and then you'll get it'll be closer for you. There we are when I work. Now, I know I've shown you various stenciling with dust before, but I just thought I would throw this in for those of you who haven't seen it, and then I'll move on to the royal icing technique, which I will show you in a moment. Now, if you want to make a stencil, let me bring some in so you can see this one. I've got both colours of the Union Jack, but the best way to start is actually to use just one colour, like that. So what I'll do is I'll put, I don't know if we can get those in as well. If I move that out, you might be able to see that in the distance. There we go. I'll move it that way. Right, so what I'm going to do is I think I'll use which colour? Red or blue? I've got a choice. I think it's going to be red, nice and bright and jolly. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I can bring that in now. No, I can't. I'm going to load my brush. So if I just move this over here, I'm just going to load my brush quite generously, because for just one colour you don't need to worry too much. Tricia says she's watching. Hello there, Tricia. Nice that you're on here. So because this paste is still fresh underneath, it holds, for want of a better word, the dust nicely. So I say this is the easiest technique. It's just by dusting over the wet paste. Now, if you want to try doing the technique with the two colours, which is this one here, that one in the corner, I'll move it that way a little bit, there. What you have to do is get some nice fine brushes and be very, very patient. I decided actually that I wasn't going to do that live, because it takes a little while, a lot longer than doing it this way anyway, and you have to be very, very precise, because obviously these are quite small, these sections, but as I said, I made that one earlier. All the cookies you see on this video are all made this morning, so they're all completely fresh. And as I said earlier, they have been inspired by the Olympics. I thought, although our team are in red, white and blue, so that's what I was going to make. Now I'm just taking the excess dust away there with a great big brush. I love this brush, a bit like a blusher brush. Okay, and I just move these ones out so they don't get dust on them, because there's nothing worse than spoiling something you've already made. And now I'm going to just peel the stencil away. There we go. So we have a red Union Jack. Now, as I said earlier, each of my stencils has a corresponding cutter. So this fluttering flag has a fluttering flag cutter. Now I'm going to have to stand up to make sure I've got this perfectly in the centre, like so. And then what I'm going to do is press down nice and firmly. Now what you don't want to do with this cutter is to wiggle it, because you'll distort it. You know how when you're making flowers or petals, you tend to give it a little wiggle, which I'm not going to do, but you know, that sort of wiggle, just to make sure everything's cut through cleanly. You don't really want to do that with the flags, because it will distort the shape a little. Dawn says, oh, she loves it. I'm pleased to hear that, Dawn. That's fantastic. And I can see lots of hearts going across the screen as well. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've cut through, and then you want to take the excess paste away, like so. Now, if you haven't cut completely cleanly, which you can see here, a little bit of fringing. I don't like fringing. I don't know about you. It really gets to me. So what I'm going to do is just get my craft knife and just trim that up a little, like so. So it makes it all nice and clean. So what I would normally do is leave that on my work surface, probably for a couple of minutes, for the paste to harden up a bit. But because I've got another technique I want to show you, I'm just going to lift that and I'll bring it forward for you. There you go. And pop it over here, out of the way, whilst I bring in the next technique. So, whoops, I might have to put the, can we do it? No, I'm going to have to put it back up again. So there we are. Now, what I'm going to use is royal icing for this second technique. So let me just bring two in, one with dust and one with royal icing. See if you can tell the difference. Okay, I'll bring these in my hand. The red one is with royal icing. And can you see, if I bring it in close to the camera, if it will focus, the royal icing gives a lovely finish because each shape has like a rounded edge to it. And then this one is the dusts, so you get much sharper finish. And I think which technique you use is entirely up to you, which you prefer, or maybe what you've got the materials for. Okay, I'm going to pop those down. Just pop them down here. Okay, so I have got under here some rolled out modelling paste, and I've covered it with plastic just to make sure it's nice and fresh. I'm now going to put my stencil on top. Now I don't press on this one because I want the royal icing to fill the gaps, so I've got to work nice and cleanly. Under here, Diana says they both look good, and Dawn says she likes both too. I'm just giving you options. I hope one of them at least appeals. Okay, so this is royal icing that I've coloured red, as you can see. I'm just going to paddle it now. Oops, I didn't put my non-slip mat underneath it. There we go. Need to just stabilise it. I'm just trying to get rid of any air bubbles that might be in the royal icing. Just paddling it. Always remember to paddle royal icing. And they say you should use a figure of 8 action, but I've only got a little here, so that's a little bit harder to do. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit on the back of my palette knife. I'm going to use my fingers to, oops, I'm going to move that one out of the way. We don't need that one right now. Fingers just to hold this so it doesn't move. I'm going to put this on top like so and scrape across. Now I've missed a tiny little bit down in this corner, so I'm going to go back over here. And you want to make sure that the icing, you haven't scraped it all away, but there is a little bit there. Now I've got a little bit, it's a little bit thicker there than here, and it's a little bit thinner there, but actually I don't think that really matters at this stage. Okay, and I'm going to lift it now. There we go. And Tabitha says, would it not sneak under the edges? If you're talking about the royal icing, no, it doesn't. And I will show you. At the moment, it's still got these little points on, but because it's a wet royal icing, as it rests, it'll take up the lovely rounded shape. Now, we're going to cut it out. Rather, I'm going to cut it out. You might do eventually. Same principle, you want to put your cutter, I must look what I'm doing. There we are. Position it, look down on it, so that you know where you've got to place it. Okay, so I've got some red royal icing on my finger, I've just got to wipe it off. There we go. And then, you want to do the same thing as before. Oops, I haven't cut through, hold on. I can see that I haven't cut it through. I was more concerned about the royal icing on my finger than cutting through the paste. There we go. That's better. Right. Oops. There we are. And then again, I would leave that for a few seconds or so just to let it firm up a little. And if you want to, you can trim any feathering. I've got a little bit under there, so that when you lift it, it's all beautifully clean to lay onto your cake, your cookie, or whatever it is you want to. Just bring that in. So if I bring that one in as well, and you can see both the ones I've just made. And if I bring the camera in, Monica says that's brill. You've got two techniques, two ways of doing it. And obviously the royal icing there is still wet. Tabitha says, how did you do that without the dreaded double edge? I can never recut the fondant without doing that. I know, it's annoying, isn't it? Sometimes when you haven't quite cut through and then you realise, you go back and you cut it in a different place. I guess luck and judgment is more luck than judgment, as they say. And these are only experimental pieces anyway, but yeah, it's being careful, isn't it? Taking time. I mean, I've spent all morning playing with these this morning. I've just loved it. So what I'm going to do is put the cookies back on their stand, and I'm going to bring the stand in, so give you a close-up of what I've done, and then you'll be able to see the royal icing one that's actually dried as well. Just bring that in there. Whoops, it's my stand. Let's see if we can get... Oh, there we go. Right, here we are. So that was the one, the royal icing one that is now set. That is the full colours of the Union Jack. This is the one using part of the large fluttering flag stencil. And then up here we've got the bunting. Now the bunting cutter is actually separate to the flag cutters because we sell loads of them, and it means it's cheaper, but they are available too, and I actually like the blue on red. I think that works really well, like this one. And here we got the red one. Diana says, I've never used a stencil, but I do like how they come out. They're brilliant for something quick and easy. They look very professional. If I zoom back, you can see they look gorgeous. And I think a lot of people really enjoy using them because they're so simple and anyone can do them. Right, I'm going to try and flick the camera back to me now. Let's see if it will do it. It's not. Well, you can enjoy looking at my cookies while I try and flick the camera back. I think it's because I've been using white fat to roll out the paste, and there's still a little bit on my fingers. And sometimes this works, and I can usually get it to flip. Here we go. There we are. I don't know. I must remember to have a wipe available. So there we are. I hope that's inspired you all. I've seen lots of thumbs ups as we've been going along. So thank you very much for that. If you've not tried stencils before, then we sell loads on our shop. And obviously we have these as well. I'll bring those down and you can see. And I'll give you links in a moment. If you've got any questions, then let me know. Tabitha says she's highly allergic to the front camera. I know what you mean. But, you know, I know you like to see who I am. So I have to flick it round for you. If you've got any requests for future Facebook Lives, then please let me know and pop a comment on. I'd love to know what you'd like me to show you. And I say I was inspired by watching the Olympics for these, so I hope you enjoy watching the Olympics as well. I've got Jo saying she loves the big one. There we are. And it's made using, oh, if I can find it, here we are. It's made using this one. Now, it's upside down. With the Union Jack, you have to be careful because there's a right way and the wrong way, just so that you know. Anyway, that's everything for now. So until next time, goodbye.